Holy Spider-Man pointing .jpg Batman. Tiki here, and I have been watching through each and every episode of Batman Beyond for the first time. Dragon, tell them why we're here.
Well, you see, folks, long ago, I made a vow to educate Tiki in the ways of Batman the Animated Series, serving as his spirit guide to Gotham in a way. But that was the past, and we must now enter the Batman's future.
Tonight, we are talking the once and future thing, part 2, Time Warped. Oh, yeah. So, Dragon, this definitely was an entertaining finale to the once and future thing arc. I will say, I think just as far as, like, time travel shenanigans goes, I don't know, man. I'm just a sucker for the whole dinosaurs in the Old West thing.
Mm-hmm.
This episode is fun. It definitely has a lot of kind of character stuff going on. Dragon, the thing with this episode that almost kind of caught me off guard is that I kind of feel like we get a little bit of a taste of like the multiverse shenanigans of, you know, like, oh no, Wonder Woman faded from existence and now Green Lantern is Hal Jordan. I almost kind of wish that they would have gone farther with that. I almost kind of wish that the whole episode, like, you know what I mean? I feel like that kind of stuff is so fun, but I feel like it kind of feels isolated within the context of the rest of the episode. So overall, definitely a fun one. I would probably have to say I probably gun to my head prefer part 1 over part 2. But still, overall, a very solid arc. And of course, Dragon, you know, the Spider-Man pointing .jpg of it all. We get some really killer Batman on Batman moments. Some really great stuff from there. You know, great Conroy on great Conroy. So can't wait to break that down. All right.
All right, so a little context on this one. So it's so funny you mentioned Spider-Man. So the director on this was the incomparable Joaquin DeSantos. Now, Joaquin DeSantos, known for a variety of things, made his bones on Avatar and Legend of Korra. For starters, he did, but before that though, he did Justice League. So he did Justice League, and then he ended up, really kind of making a name for himself solo, well, in the director's chair primarily. After he kind of got a start on the DCAU, mainly with Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. I think specifically Unlimited.
Mm-hmm.
He did episodes. Here are a few we've talked about. Kids stuff. It was the young Batman, old Justice League. Got turned to kids. Remember?
I do remember that. Yeah.
So we have kids stuff. Task Force X, which is the Suicide Squad episode, which is amazing,
Mm-hmm.
and Flash and Substance, the big the big Flash episode we talked about, with that featured Mark Hamill's the Trickster.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, the big thing, the reason I bring up Spider-Man things, Joaquin DeSantos, as you may or may not remember, main director on Across the Spider-Verse.
Sure, I do remember. Yeah.
So again, just him kind of feeling out some event stuff here.
Some time travel shenanigans. Some
there
multiverse.
You go.
Yeah. Nice.
Okay, so the writer on this continued again. He pretty much applauded this whole two-parter. Dwayne McDuffie returns for part 2. Of course, huge integral part of Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. Really made Unlimited pop. This guy did, of course, a tremendous comics writer, created Static, the character.
Mm-hmm.
For Justice League and stuff we talked about, he wrote Starcrossed, he wrote Task Force X, and he wrote Doomsday Sanction, which again was a big Batman episode. And I want to say the second time, now that we've actually seen it again, we've had 4 times in all of Justice League, which we've had Unmasked Batman, which is a rarity between both series. We did it 4 times, twice in the original and twice in Unlimited. He did the first time in Unlimited, so which was Doomsday Sanction, him in the hospital bed. All right, so the studio that worked on this, Tiki, take a guess who the studio was on this.
Are we back to classic Coca-Cola version of Don Yang again?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to tell you who.
Okay.
Dr. Movie Limited, Dr. Movie Company Limited. Now, this is one we've talked about before briefly. Mainly, they did Mystery of the Batwoman.
Okay, nice.
The Mystery of the Batwoman, and in terms of big finale events, also did Destroyer. Basically the for all intents and purposes, the ending of the DCAU, like collectively, there was a Destroyer, like the big Dark Side invasion, which again was pretty much Endgame before there was Endgame. You remember, that whole shindig. All right, and Task Force X. These guys, they're very much kind of Unlimited's kind of go-to studio. It feels like so. Not a whole lot in terms of context, because we already went through it a lot with part one. But for part two, given we're in the future now, this was a big event. This is like the big return of Batman Beyond in the DCAU between this and the Static crossover that we talked about. Because basically, Batman Beyond had ended by that point. Then we kind of brought him back a little bit Static, and then we kind of brought him back proper because everyone had been clamoring, we need more Batman Beyond. That ending was unsatisfying
Where's
to us.
Terry? People would say.
That was the hashtag movement, Tiki. It was hashtag where's Terry. Forget release the Snyder cut. Where's Terry? So they answered that here. So again, there's been a lot of clamoring for Batman Beyond because people love that show, and again, it was kind of gone too soon. And so basically, their way of getting around that was via Justice League Unlimited. And let's just say we might have one more to talk about after this.
All right. Okay. Comments. He's saying Kevin Conroy and Phil Lamar really got to show their range in this episode. Indeed they did. We will break that down, especially Conroy for sure, but Phil Lamar as well.
Well, I mean, he voices multiple characters this episode. So,
yeah.
Also, one last thing, Crisis. This is kind of a unique episode too because this is a Crisis level event. Of course, now the DCU never officially did a Crisis. Like in terms of the classic DC Crisis on Infinite Earths, which of course now very relevant. But the Justice League seasons kind of ended on something that each Justice League finale kind of had a Crisis-esque event or something kind of Crisis adjacent, but they never did the full thing. I gotta be honest, the third act of this episode, closest to Crisis I think they ever got. I really did. Between this and the Destroyer finale, these are the closest they've gotten to actual, like, this is like, the Crisis level event. All right.
I think that's kind of what I was talking about, where, like, in the third act of this episode, we start to do some really crazy time travel stuff. I almost kind of feel like this could have been a three-parter if they really wanted it to be, if they really wanted to go, like, balls to the walls with all the crossover multiverse stuff, They could have done it.
Possibly. Well, I mean, Joaquin Dos Santos, we know how much he flourishes in multi-parters.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's get this show on the road then.
Let's do it. All right. So the way we left the last episode off, we have the JLU Beyond and kind of our present day JLU. They're teamed up here, and they're basically they're swooping in to save our present day Justice League of Batman, Wonder Woman, and Green Lantern from the Return of the Jokers, band of Jokers, which are now kind of souped up and futurized thanks to Chronos.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, Chronos, again, playing with the time travel logic, he knew exactly when and where they would arrive, so he had his minions. They're ready and waiting. So we have the Ghoul has like essentially
These
pumpkin
guys,
bombs.
like...
Sorry, what?
Oh, I was just gonna say I'm sorry. It's cool to see these guys outside of Batman Beyond Return of the Joker, because that's pretty much their flagship appearance. So I feel like just their presence in general kind of makes this episode feel like a little bit of a big deal just because of that.
And because of the movie, they got the most love, frankly. So it's great to kind of have them back. They're very established. They all have very, very much made an impact. So it's good to see them. So, we have they've all been souped up. Ghoul has like a thermite pumpkin, which is like raining down on him. Chucko, he's lacking his legs. Basically, they Darth Mauled Chucko in the best of ways. They got rid of his lower half and they gave him a double-sided lightsaber, which is no accident. That's literally they literally modeled him after they added some Darth Maul stuff to him,
which is going to come back in a really memorable way once we get to his fate.
Mm-hmm. So let's see. The DDs now have like an electrical whip, and as we learn the action, they have the ability to duplicate when you punch them.
So they're essentially duplicate at this point.
Yeah, or again the I guess the more risque pun, double D's.
Oh boy, yeah.
Yep, they all you got it, folks. They all wear black socks for hats.
Oh, God.
It was on the same network. It works.
No, it's fine.
Anyway,
What do you want me to do, Norman? Darn you some socks?
yes, please. Just double D in the corner. Okay, here's a cute little fun fact for you. You'll notice in the
I
action.
think Norma and Double D would get along famously.
Oh
Dragon.
my God, Double D would be like the model. Will be like
And
Norman
then
without
Norma
the
would be
issues.
like the parent that Double D never had. Oh,
Exactly.
It would be beautiful.
Anyway,
All right. Anyways,
so fun fact.
I
You'll
feel
notice
like I just willed a fanfic ship into existence.
I think you did. But anyway, plus I mean, Double D was always kind of effeminate. So if he went the full Norman Bates, it would actually
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If we really want to go there, I think Double D would be the guy to go.
Double D could do a full Farmiga. I could buy it.
Oh God. Anyways.
Anyway, so fun fact here: when the DDs are fighting Green Lantern, you'll notice they're actually making a dent in the shields and everything. That's because their whips are yellow.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
The
I did
weakness
notice that. I did pick up on that.
Rarely were they able to do this, but Dwayne McDuffie, he would push for like, let's do the Green Lantern weakness from the comics. Let's work it in there a bit, man. Let's. I know we kind of avoided it, but let's try it.
I feel like Green Lantern always has like a bunch of lore and rules and stuff that never really makes it through when you're dealing with like a team setting. You know what I mean? You almost need like a full Green Lantern animated series to really get into that stuff.
Which they did get. They did have.
Mm-hmm.
All right, anyway, so we have some action here. The deities mentioned they killed a Green Lantern, which is like, wow, with Chronos' souped up tech, all these Jokers are a lot more formidable than we've ever seen them before.
Mm-hmm.
They've killed a bunch of these heroes working for Chronos. So let's see. We have some like cool the duplication effect. Wolf now has like mechanical arms, and we have this really creepy like POV through his mouth, his laughing mouth shot. Let's see. We have Static versus Bonk. Now, the cool thing about Bonk and Ghoul is that they. The cool thing about them is that they have the April Moon tech, the technology that we saw established in April Moon, but they have like the cybernetic implants.
Right, yeah.
So we're gonna paying everything off. So again, at least somebody out there, at least Dwayne McDuffie liked the April Moon episode.
Oh my God, no, the April Moon episode, just legitimately, if we were to do a ranking of Batman Beyond episodes, that would be up there for me.
It's always crazy how it never gets any love. No one ever talks about April Moon.
I mean, I love it specifically because of how much it stands alone. It almost feels like an anthology episode in a really good way.
Yeah. All right. So along with along with Gould, Bonk, he and Bonk, they have like the upgrades and everything. They're fighting Batman. Static, he provides some assistance there. He saves Terry from from the DDs. Again, now he won't be able to later, but he does now.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Here's another thing too. You'll notice this animation studio. They because it's been a while since Batman Beyond's been in animation. The DCAU at this point, they forgot to animate the glider wings.
Oh God!
So if you notice, that's why the wings don't pop out. It seems that they either made like a choice just for like the action. Like, we don't want to have to animate him popping out the wings, or it's just been a while. Like, yeah, he's got the rocket boosters. Like, no, guys, he has the rocket boosters, which help him with the wings.
Oh man.
Anyway. So let's see. So Terry wants to do a tactical retreat using a mother box, which is kind of cool. A little callback to kind of some apocalyptic tech. Let's see. It's not up for a vote, and then it gets destroyed. So now it's up to Green Lantern and Static to improvise, and they provide kind of like a flashbang, and then Green Lantern constructs a maze, which again. After the first season of Justice League, Green Lantern's constructs got really cool and they got really creative. Like he's got like a
for sure. That is definitely like a great example of just going all out with the Green Lantern power set for sure.
Yeah, like we've seen a bad exit, but Green Lantern actually creates a freaking maze. You call that amazing?
Yep, hell yeah.
All right,
I will say, as cool as this action is, it is a little bit like right up at the top of the episode, it's very fighty fight, which is it's cool fighty fight, but it takes a while for the actual crossover components of this episode to really kick into high gear, which is a little bit of a nitpick on my end.
Well, again, you don't have to wait long though, so we see that things are so bad. They're now based in the old Hamilton Hill High School building. So the old high school from Batman Beyond. That's where we're bunkering out now. It's like this makeshift Justice League headquarters for all the very few JLU members that remain. We're about 50 years in the future, which is kind of like the bylaw of Batman Beyond. Usually it's like the gag is it's 50 years from wherever we are. But yeah, I mean, it kind of adds a few years to where we've seen Terry last. Again, this is Terry a little bit more seasoned, technically. But mind you, this is Terry. This is not 100% the Terry McGinnis we know, Tiki. This is Terry McGinnis in an alternate timeline.
I kind of picked up on that, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. So,
hey, Dragon, I hate to do this to you, but there's something pressing that I need to take care of. Can you give me like 3 minutes, and in the meantime, can you maybe just tee the audience up for like the few remaining things that we have left, kind of get the runway going for the few episodes that we have left.
All right.
All right. I'm sorry. I'll be as quick as I can.
Yeah. Okay, folks, I'm going to just hype you up for this a little bit here. So we have, after this episode, of course, Batcave Beyond, 2 episodes left. We get the penultimate, then we have the ultimate. I know you diehard fans out there, don't tell Tiki because he's not here. You know what's coming. Don't tell him what's coming. But yeah, so that's gonna be huge. But before that, though, we're talking about a Batman Beyond comic that was so good and so styled to be in the animated series that it's practically canon. So we figured, at least I figured, he hasn't read it yet. I figured, we'd cover it because essentially it fills in a gap between, the last time we see Batman Beyond in the DCAU, and nothing really conflicts with where we go from there. We might as well kind of talk about it, kind of hype things up a bit, and again, really just we've done this once before with I believe it's Red Sun Rising, the Red Hood, the Paul Dini, Ty Templeton, and Alan Burnett, Batman Animated Series tie-in comic, which was the new Batman Adventures Continue, or Batman Adventures Continue. Yeah, we kind of cover that because again, it was very much like that's literally Paul Dini is adding to the canon of the DCAU with Batman, and it was basically something that we desperately wanted to see, and it was like, hey, it's essentially been canonized and actually fits, so it was worth talking about. So we don't do this all the time. So this is like the one of 2 times that we absolutely had to cover it. So we're going to be covering this certain Batman story. I encourage all of you to read if you can. It's really good, or at least look into it. That one we won't be covering beat by beat, but we'll be kind of giving an overview, kind of a book club kind of vibe to it. So look forward to that. All right, let's see. I guess they kind of like get us get through it a little bit here, just to kind of prime us. All right, let's see. So again, we're in the makeshift Justice League headquarters. For everyone who remains about 50 years in the future, we have some nice kind of chummy Green Lantern static bits here, where it's like, last time I saw you, you were too young to drive. Now look at you, and this is really sweet bit of like, it's modern medicine. 65 is the new 35, and just it's the fact that Green Lantern's just given, he's friends with Static and just saying, you look good for a man your age. And he's like he's kind of proud of him. He was, in some senses of the word. Now, mind you, Static had a really good father in Robert Hawkins, but Green Lantern is the mentor and to some degree the father figure, which does correlate with Warhawk in a really nice way. One could say it's kind of like Tony Stark kind of Spider-Man-esque thing. Anyway, let's see. Earlier, Code Geass Anime Fan says, Batman saying, who are you, Terry? I'm Batman Beyond. Batman, I'm beyond impressed. Terry, really? Batman, no, stop calling yourself Batman. Just like Blade, there's only one Batman. Yeah, we all know Code Geass's views. He's very much like there's only one Batman. It's gonna be Bruce.
All right,
Wayne.
Dragon, I'm back. I'm sorry.
Great. All right. Anyway, so I was talking about the Green Lantern Static reunion. That's kind of nice. They have somewhat of like kind of an Iron Man Peter Parker kind of dynamic. There's the
Last time
fact
I
that
saw you, you weren't even old enough to drive yet.
yeah, the miracles of modern medicine. 65 is the new 35. But seriously, isn't this kind of nice? Like he's his mentor, and he's kind of like it's kind of a proud of your boy kind of moment, which kind of, a little bit.
I mean, let's face it, John is kind of experiencing like a couple different proud of your boy situations going on simultaneously in the
And that's what I'm getting at, and kind of the way that like Spider-Man was kind of like had like the father-son thing with Tony Stark. This is kind of it's a little similar. Like he was his mentor, and this is kind of preparing John for fatherhood because he was very much he was very close with Static, and this kind of gets him ready.
So, Dragon, in other words, John is dealing with being both a
non-biological father
and a biological father. God, so dumb. That of all things being like the thing that we kept from that video is whatever. It's fun. It's fun.
Anyway, so we learned the Watchtower is gone. They lost a lot of good people, so like Superman, John Jones, the Martian Manhunter, and even Wonder Woman. So where's Batman's asking in the Batcave? We lose that too. So then we have our big crossover moment, and not for a second did I doubt the image we were going to use for this. By the way, so old Bruce Wayne emerges from the shadows like a bad entrance, meeting Batman. Just it's all we have left now. Deal with it.
Yeah. Oh God. I mean, that right there. Can we just say right off the bat? I mean, I don't know how you're feeling. I feel like the rest of the episode is great as far as the Conroy on Conroy stuff goes, but that opening statement might be the great Conroy line for me.
Tiki, there's great Conroy up the wazoo.
Oh, it is. There is.
It's almost impossible. I have my. There's a fun one I really like towards the end, but I don't know. There's so many good ones, and this is great. The back and forth here, and there's something wonderful and bittersweet about this scene. So we have old Bruce saying, "Surprised to see me." Here's the fact: old Bruce is always so grumpy, and the fact that he's kind of smiling, and like when he meets Superman, he's like still grousing about and everything. But when he meets himself, he meets young Batman, because again, old Bruce is wistful for his youth. So him getting a chance in this weird situation to kind of meet his younger self in his prime, his absolute prime. He's like, surprised to see me, and then just this great response from the younger Batman. A little more surprised I lived so long. So there's something bittersweet and beautiful about this. Of course, the bittersweet aspect of this line is, I think, like all of us, it's bittersweet because we all thought it was a no-brainer that Kevin Conroy would basically one day age to be old Bruce Wayne. So it's really bittersweet.
Yeah.
But think about this, and this is how it's kind of like that. I don't want to, scream out into the darkness on that, but I want to kind of light kind of a flickering candle in the darkness. Here is that Kevin Conroy, in such a unique way, he would never be able to do in any other role in any other capacity in life. He lived out his old age through animation with this character. The life he wouldn't live to see, he was able to live it out through 3 seasons and a few guest spots of television. That's something.
He did that like more prolifically than pretty much any other voice actor doing like a role like this, where he's doing different generations of it. Yeah,
the man literally dedicated his life to Batman. I mean, I don't. If that's not like the ultimate thing you can do for a character, I don't know what is. I mean, plus this is such a unique scene. Just the old Batman, and the fact that Conroy again is able to switch between like the two voices when being very distinct,
freaking seamlessly.
Yeah. So of course, it's also with Batman's line here. He's surprised they lived so long because again, Batman always never expected, he always imagined he'd go down swinging. So the fact that he was able to actually kind of like live a long life, and the bittersweet quality of that is that he doesn't know how miserable the other guy is. Anyway, so then we have the ultimate Terry Ron Stoppable moment, the ultimate Ron Stoppable. where he pops up between them, and he's skitty as a schoolboy here, seeing his old mentor, and this is really unique because he's always wondered what the younger Bruce Wayne was like. So he's saying
he's heard the legends. It's like it's carved into the fabric of his urban mythology a little bit.
It's like Batman, Bruce Wayne, Batman, or have you met? And then they both say simultaneously, "Not now."
Not now. That's
great. What do they used to call it? Stereo. It's just perfect. It's the fact that, oh my god, he's so giddy that again he has the younger version of his mentor, and he's like, oops, it's still the same amount of grouch.
Honestly, I don't really think Terry has a ton to do this episode outside of just kind of be, he's there, he's along for the ride. It's not like he's definitely not like the spotlight in a lot of ways.
I love Dwayne McDuffie. I'll never say an unkind word about the man, but I will have to admit this. It's a missed opportunity, but I understand absolutely why he did this. So, again, it's not Batman Beyond, technically. It's Justice League, and we have to serve the three characters that came through that portal. Specifically, Batman, Green Lantern, and, that's the thing. The fact is, we already established in this scene that, Batman doesn't want to know any more about his future than he has to. So because of that, he wouldn't be chatting with Terry, which the only way to achieve that would be the episode would have to be Terry would have to be a primary character in the episode, which we don't have time for. And again, not his show. So I get why they didn't do that. That said, though, it feels like a missed opportunity, but I understand all the reasons the world Dwayne McDuffie didn't have him do that.
And again, we're kind of like left in this awkward territory where it's technically Batcave Beyond. I think this episode counts for Batcave Beyond just because we're in the Beyond universe at this point. So,
Literally, like they're dusting off the backgrounds and everything. We're here,
Right, yeah.
Anyway, so it's a wonderfully charming moment in like the three Batmen just kind of meeting each other, and it's wonderful and perfect. And it sounds just like it would,
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of reunions, and I guess meet introductions, Green Lantern meets Rex Stewart, which, by the way, is a cute little reference to the fact that this is the son that he had with Shira, who is a Hawkgirl, and the name Rex, of course, John Stewart. Rex Stewart is a nod to in Justice League, the original Justice League animated series. He was friends with Rex Mason, who turned into Metamorpho. He was kind of a friend who met a tragic fate and turned into Metamorpho. So that's kind of a nod to his old war buddy. He named him after his old friend.
Nice.
It's cute. Anyway, so says like who's your basically who's your mother? He says, isn't it kind of obvious? Then Batman chiming in with like, even if it isn't obvious, the less you know about your future, the better. And Terry chiming in with more Ron Stoppel as, trust me, you really don't. So Static makes a funny here. Is like, oh, well, okay, Shire was one cranky pregnant lady. But then again, if you laid an egg that size. I just love that John for a moment, his eyes go, well, oh my God. And then,
you actually have to conjure up that imagery, like, okay, that's going to be, we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
I mean, she is an alien, technically. So, right. She's an alien with wings built into her. So. Anyway, so Rex, like, Dad, he's joking. I don't understand why he'd be joking at a time like this. So, again, Static is always, he was a smart kid. So he's actually trying to put together the timepieces here. We're saying he's making jokes because, don't you get it? We won. Old Bruce is still here. And then old Bruce chimes in with like, he already lived. This is Batman. Old Bruce points out like flawless logic, but only for the fact that I don't have any memory of ever meeting my other self or anything else today, for that matter. So
I love the gravitas that Conroy delivers it. It's like he's really laying out the stakes here. It's like, like you would think that I would remember going to the future and meeting my future self, but I don't. Hello, McFly.
Of course, he does have the cane, and he looks a lot like old Biff. So it actually
he does.
Hello, McGinnis. Hello. Anyway. So, but again, you're right. The way the gravitas of which he says flawless logic, just like drops it, just like, yeah, good logic. Problem, I don't remember diddly.
Right.
All right, so let's see. Okay, so basically we have some. We're in the Titanic now, so we're in the remains of James Cameron's early success. So we're in the Titanic. Chronos he's, by the way, fun. Chronos is in his full-on comic suit minus the mask, so he looks really off the page now. The first suit already looked good. This one, how do you feel about this suit? You like it?
Oh yeah, I mean it definitely. I think it fits his vibe and his character really well. It's kind of like it's almost like how he sees himself in a lot of ways, if that makes sense.
I like that it's fancier. I like there's like the white pants. He's got like the logo on there. It just looks like he's making himself like Lord Chronos. So it's like he's trying to make himself futuristic, like
Right.
royal. Speaking of
Dragon,
which,
I wonder if he used established titles to make himself a lord.
God, maybe he could have.
He could have. He could have.
All right, so we have
you can too. Go to establishedtitles.com. No, I'm kidding, obviously.
All right, so we have Enid dressed all fancy and everything.
Mm-hmm.
They put her in like a princess dress, like a queen dress. Let's see. So he's chewing out the clowns. Just I love how maniacal Peter MacNicol is here. By the way, he's so great here, and the way he plays like this. We've seen the first part. He played Chronos down on his luck, and now he's playing Chronos as like king of the castle. It's so much fun. He's so malevolent. So there's how do you feel about this? Like his wife's in fear of him compared to where she was in the first day. Like, how do you feel about all that?
No, I do really like the development. I think just having his wife in the picture is just a really good illustration of like kind of how far he's come from that kind of like like you're a fucking loser, into this. It's definitely a good progression on his villainy for sure. Because frankly, he's displaying some rather incel behavior. So he's definitely upped his game in just kind of the unsavory department.
So that was back before we had a terrifying name for it, kids.
Right.
Back when it wasn't a regular thing. Back when you had the occasional one sprouting up. Anyway, anyways, we have this beautiful. It's a beautiful collection, David. Yeah, so he says like, "Sorry, Lord Chronos." Again, the little man's desire to be important, who's making them all call him Lord Chronos and everything.
Mm-hmm.
They're like kids who got in trouble at school. So basically, we get the gist of what the deal is here. Basically, he uses Gotham to store his collection, which is really twisted. By the way, he took over Gotham City just to store his elaborate, large-scale collection all through it. He lets the clowns run rampant in exchange for the occasional security job, in which it's like killing Batman, Wonder, and Green Lantern in the exact spot I'm going to tell you they're going to be in. But then the JLU, the JLU showed up, but Chronos figures they were tipped off. So there's a rat in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
Now Chucko here, which by the way, I just wanted to call it out because we didn't really call it out since the movie. Chucko is actually modeled after one of the co-founders of Batman the Animated Series. He's modeled after Eric Radomski, who I told you this like ages ago, but Eric Radomski went to a costume party with Bruce Timm, and he was dressed in this pink tutu with a clown mask called Sicko the Clown. So basically, they packed a lot of pounds on.
I do remember you telling me that, yeah.
So that's Chucko. So anyway, Chucko here having some fun. And by the way, Chucko, voiced by a Better Call Saul alumni.
Yeah.
He's voiced by Don Harvey, the original, the original cab driver.
Oh, okay. That's appropriate. That's appropriate.
Yeah.
Because that guy does feel like he could just be like some sketchy ass clown lurking in a parking lot or something somewhere.
Yeah. Yep, a clown wearing an ugly sweater, even if it is in black and white, it's an ugly sweater.
Right.
Say it. Come on. Say it. I know who you are. Say it. Anyway. All right. So Chucko says he promises to find the leak. And we have this creepy lean as like Chronos says, "Oh, don't trouble yourself, Chucko. I already know." And he pulls like a little time portal there to show the folks that Batman, Batman Beyond paid off Chucko to sell him out. And he basically sends him to the Jurassic era. And what happens?
Now, you know me, Dragon. I'm a sucker for dinosaurs. So
and Tiki, best part. These are not robot dinosaurs. These are real dinosaurs.
I know, which is great.
So what happens?
Basically, he leaves Checo to fend for himself, and Checo, he's breaking out the Darth Maul double-sided red lightsaber, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to save him.
I'll be running this place in a few weeks, and then phooey, like the asteroids, comets coming.
Yeah, the asteroid thing is a great kind of it's almost like, oh, you thought I brought you here for the dinosaurs, but oh no, I brought you here for something much worse.
It's just
what killed the dinosaurs? The
bullshit.
Sorry, I can't resist.
But that's a great gag. There's like asking the Jokers, like, do you know what killed the dinosaurs? No. They're so illiterate. Like, no. Well, Chucko does. Unless you want to find out. You skedaddle.
No, it's not like you can read a book or something. The only way you'll find out is if I take you there.
Read a book.
Educate yourself.
Anyway, so they skedaddle here, and then that's like time is money, and this is like a fun Chronos thing. He's still so wonderfully, kind of nerdy, and kind of all about the time-space continuum. Well, it's a non-spatial continuum. But the clowns like the money thing.
Mm-hmm.
The clowns relate to the money thing. Okay, so we have this really creepy scene here. Where again, Enid here is trying to he's massaging his ego essentially. And again, Mindy Sterling here is just playing it so well, where she's like, she's like secretly terrified of him. She's trying to be like the nice wife. She nervously asks, like, "You think maybe we could?" I love how vague this is. You think maybe we can make me really happy if we took my mother out of the thing. Just the fact that we call it the thing and we don't know what the heck he did to her. Like, he put her somewhere, and it's some God knows what the heck this poor mother-in-law is going through, all because she said some bad stuff about him. That's all. Just like he'll never amount to anything. Like that she should have married the other guy. That's all she said.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Anyway, so then he kind of snaps at her. He says, basically we're getting to the kind of the incel-y kind of thing here, where it's like, nothing I ever do is good enough for you. I just wanted you to love me, which again is the deep-rooted issue. Or again, had she treated him a little nicer, again, she was nagging him. She put him down. She said commit crimes. She got what she asked for, but
But obviously he's taking it a little bit too far, just a little bit.
And the whole thing, she raised the question of, like, you remember that thing you warned me about, the whole messing with the timeline could cause trouble? I mean, you don't think I can handle it? And he just turns in the whole thing. It turns into like an argument that's not there. It's genuine, like, concern and fear. Please, is there anything I can do to make it right? And we have Peter Manacle with that really insidious delivery. I sincerely doubt it. And he's out. Basically leaves her. Okay. So the JLU, they compare notes, they figure out what's going on. Essentially, they formulate their plan. Batman, classic Batman, he has written a program to disable the Chronos belt. The problem is, you got to get close to the Chronos belt. So they have to find Chronos. Got to find out where he is. Wonder Woman then vanishes before their eyes, Back to the Future style, and it's quite sad.
Yeah, very dramatic. I love how abruptly it happens. It just happens like literally like mid-sentence.
I love that both of our somewhat closed-off Batmen have really visceral reactions to it, very haunting reactions to it. Like, our current Batman is like, Diana, which as he would tend to do. And then old Bruce Wayne has this really somber, like, she never left the island.
Yeah.
Which again, like, oh man, it's very haunting. Or she was never born. And they're young. Then like 3 Batmen in one scene, folks. I'm sorry. Batman, old Bruce is like, she never left the island.
And folks, this is why a Batman Beyond style Spider-Verse movie would do wonders, right?
Yep. So then Terry's saying we're running out of time, literally. And then this is where we do the Crisis. So in Crisis, when the realities and the other Earths, all the different, like, hundreds and infinite, like, planets visual from Crisis. The idea is like this giant white cleansing wave is coming over them and basically erasing the planets in its wake. So that's usually how Crisis goes. And that's how, like, for example, the new Crisis on Infinite Earths movie goes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a big erasing wave. So the fact we're seeing like the sky turn white and like this wave slowly but surely, approaching them. So that's a nod to Crisis on Infinite Earths, and I think specifically Zero Hour with kind of like the countdown kind of aspect of it. But yes, so Diana disappearing too is like Batman's slice of happiness. That again, we kind of joked about it in the first part, the very top of the first part. That's kind of gone. It's an emotional blow for him, disappearing before his eyes. So I love the visceralness of that reaction too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, anyway, so stakes, crisis. Batman. Here's another great Conroy contender. There's so many of them. I love this. I love this line. So Batman's he leaves to find Chronos, find a lead on Chronos the old-fashioned way. Terry says, "You don't know your way around here. Things have changed." And then Conroy comes in with it. Man, he says, and he's never said this line at all in the DCAU up to this point. By the way,
No, you know what? Moment. This is. I kind of feel like this really should be the great Conroy moment because, like you said, it almost kind of feels like a landmark moment to hear him say it to begin. It almost kind of feels like Chris Evans saying "Avengers Assemble" or something. You know what I mean? It has that gravitas to it.
Well, that's the thing too. This feels like an event because we did a lot of bucket list kind of things. Like we did the Old West in the first episode. We have Hal Jordan popping up, and we have Batman saying it. We have the Batmans meeting each other, and we have this line. Mm-hmm. He says, "Are criminals still superstitious and cowardly?" Old Bruce, "Yup." Young Batman, "Good enough for me." And he leaves.
Yeah, that's great.
So we have Batman on a rooftop. Ghoul finds him. And by the way, Ghoul yet again played by Michael Rosenbaum doing his Christopher Walken impression.
Oh yeah, his best Walken for sure.
So you're the real Batman, huh? This it's hard to believe someone stupid as you beat the Joker.
Beat the Joker.
This is maybe I'm smarter than I look, and of course he is because he set a trap for him. So Batman, as a Ghoul's charging at him, they're Static and company are there. They kind of zap him. So now his April Moon parts don't work. Mm-hmm. So then we have the interrogation.
Oh yeah.
So Batman interrogates Ghoul, and again, already in rare.
And again, this is just another fucking awesome Conroy moment. I mean, like you said, an embarrassment of riches.
This is a scene. This is an example of a scene that gets better every second. Okay, so already you have Batman doing a classic, like by the book, everything you love about Batman interrogation. He grabs Ghoul, he's dragging him to the rooftop, and he hangs him by his ankle over the side. It's off, where's Chronos? Hurry, my arm's getting tired. And then you think, okay, already, that's cool. Terry's going to be like, oh my God. But before Terry can even do anything, which he doesn't do anything, assuming he did, he would have done that. We have old Bruce Wayne come in, MVP, just old man Wayne shows up. He says, I can't believe I love he's already critiquing himself, first of all. Says, I can't believe I was ever that green. He grabs Ghoul by the scruff of his shirt, throws him on the roof, and then we have the ultimate push-in. Bruce Wayne holding the cane. This is how you interrogate someone. We zoom into the blackness of his eyes, which, by the way, little animation thing, because they're going by Batman Beyond, old Bruce has black eyes, colored eyes, just because it was a simple animation thing. Where in part 1, we gave him blue eyes, like the new Batman Adventures. It's kind of interesting, So Batman got so grumpy over the years, his eyes changed from pale blue to pure black, cold souls of eyes.
All right, we do have a couple comments here I want to shout out. Little Blue, Dragon, I'm sure you are aware of this. You actually showed it to me, but he says, can't stay on, but I'll leave a comment and want to mention this. It'll please Dragon, which I'm sure it does. Mark Hamill's voice will be added to Crisis on Infinite Earth Part 3.
Little Blue, I didn't see the full entirety of the scene, but I saw what was online. I saw the clip and I showed the Tiki, I showed the Jacob in kind of like a vindication moment that apparently, I guess what happened is they didn't know for some reason they didn't know they were going to get Mark Hamill, and they had, I think, Jason Spizak or someone doing the voice, but they never swapped it out for some ungodly reason why no one would catch that before it goes out. Especially with all the publicity that we have both Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill for the last time.
Gee, I hope somebody got fired for that blunder.
Yeah. But
right, we also have Teddy in the comments. He's saying, no, I want a solo Batman Beyond movie. No multiverse or multi-timeline. I'm tired of that, broskies. I totally hear you. I'm just saying, if they wanted to, like, really market a Batman Beyond movie, like, the whole multiple different Batmen could be a way to do it. But no, I'm with you. I would want more so just a straight up adaptation. Yeah. All right.
Anyway, Rosa, real quick. So, in response to the Teddy's thing here, so absolutely, we should do a Batman Beyond movie first and foremost. Honestly, as much as I know right now they're passing around the animated Batman Beyond movie, which I would still love. A part of me still the one thing we got to do at some point. We got to do Batman Beyond in live action. That's the thing we got to do.
Yeah.
I'm not the one like clamoring for live action remakes. It's like the one thing we actually do need.
Just feels like it feels like we would have gone there by now. You know what I mean? We've gotten Harley Quinn in live action. We've gotten so much in live action. It feels like that's like one of the few missing ingredients right now.
Mm-hmm. Anyway,
all right.
So again, we have this is how you interrogate someone. We push in until the screen goes completely black. Time, like a moment passes or however long passes. We cut back. Ghoul is utterly terrified as is and spouting out everything he's ever known. Like got like probably 15 minutes to be my guess. Like you know, we have 9,453 Jokers and 200 smaller groups.
I just love the hyper specificity of the number there.
He's that scared by old man Wayne, and it's the whole thing of like he sleeps in a different building each night. We don't know exactly where he is. Is that everything? It's like I went to my bed till I was 14.
God.
So that's losing my patience. And then how could this get any better, you may ask? Batman puts his hands on old Bruce's shoulders, pulling him off of the guy. We have Batman doing good cop, I guess good cop, bad cop.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little like I can't. This Batman saying, I don't know how much longer I can control my friend here. I don't think I can control my friend here much longer. You better give us something we can use. And he says, like, his wife, I know where his wife is. And off to the side, we have two. This is just perfect. We have two Conroys. Okay?
Yep.
And then we zoom out. And we got two Lamars.
Right.
And not just two Lamars. We have an old Lamar and a younger Lamar. And they're two different characters. We have old Static and young Green Lantern.
I feel like this section of the episode in particular, all the multiverse stuff is kind of like just firing on all cylinders. And
this is what we need.
This is in a time before Hollywood got super cynical about like, let's just make everything a multiverse. Like this is just them having a fun time with it.
This was in 2005. This was way before any of that. Still, this is what a crisis movie should be.
Yes.
Just, anyways, it was the whole thing of like, I can't believe it. Batman playing good cop. Everything's relative. All right. So we have Enid. She's eating bonbons and like in basically the pyramids. We have like the creepy Joker's version, like a Pharaoh Joker. The big hulking guy. She's like, she's watching her soaps and everything. Anyways, then we have a time shift here. This was like a big. This is a big crowd pleaser, as you can probably imagine. It's like, for a brief moment, we acknowledge the elephant in the room is that we never did Hal Jordan in any of the DCAU. We did Kyle Rayner, we never did Hal Jordan, and for a brief moment, we see him, played by the wonderful Adam Baldwin, who's also doing double duty here. He's playing, triple duty. He played Jonah Hex in the previous episode. He plays Hal Jordan here, and he plays Bonk.
Nice.
Couldn't get Henry Rollins back for this one. So, anyway, this is Dwayne McDuffie, because you have to imagine, after Hal Jordan pops up for a moment, everyone and their mother is asking, where was he the whole time? So Dwayne McDuffie's reasoning for this was that this one was a multiverse thing. We're in the DCAU, we had Kyle Rayner, we had John Stewart. We did not have Hal Jordan in main continuity, so this was like the only way we could ever get him in.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I feel like for as limited of a role as he has, I do feel like he kind of embodies the character very well in the brief screen time he does get. I
mean, he's very like if John Stewart's the Marine, he very much Hal Jordan is the space cop. So he just shows and is like, I'm up to speed, carry on. But I just love it. He shows up. He basically has a roadie moment from Iron Man 2. Is the whole like, "Hey, it's me. Just deal with it. Let's just, it's just he's been recast."
Exactly. That's a perfect
comparison.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he shows up and he's going there, and we have like Terry's. Okay, I'm getting a migraine. This Batman. Unfortunately, the only brief interactions that Batman has with Terry McGinnis, is like, get used to it.
Mm-hmm.
Being very glib with him, which feels right. It feels right though. That's how he would interact with Terry Batman.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see. So anyway, so basically they're trying to convince her to help him stop him. Like, look, look, we won't hurt your husband. We just, we won't even hurt your husband if we don't have to. He's like, I don't mind if you rough him up a little bit. She's sick of him. She's terrified of him. Like, yeah, I'll show you exactly where he is. She sells him out like that. All right, let's see. So, they go to the Coliseum, and inside the Coliseum, this is a really cool idea. So, inside the Coliseum, he has the old prison from the Old West in the first part there. What do you think?
I really did like that idea. Because essentially, what I took out of that is that the prison is kind of like the starting point of the time travel shenanigans. So, he's almost kind of grown a little bit of a weird attachment to it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I really like that. I think that's really interesting.
I think it kind of speaks to like the whole like this. It's like a secret masochistic kind of thing, where deep down he likes being on his heels, like at his weakest point. Like it kind of reminds him of like kind of what started him down this path. So again, it's like him taking pride at his lowest moment, where he was in the Old West as a prisoner. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, maybe it's like somewhat of a masochistic thing, or somewhat of like just like a whole like
submissive.
Yeah, like a submissive sort of thing. Yeah, where like I was. I wasn't Bert. He right now he's all powerful. Like, what does an all powerful, essentially a time god do? Well, he wants to be at his most human point, which was in the Old West. That's where he goes to sleep.
Sure.
Enid, though, she needs some stealth lessons, as Terry points out here. She just walks up, just nagging all over. Oh, I'm sorry. Before this, we had a really sweet moment here. Hal then shifts back to Jon Stewart, and then there's a static going like, "Would you make up your mind?"
Yeah.
And this beautiful moment of Warhawk just kind of taking a moment of pause before our big third act, saying, just what do you do when you have the weight of the world on your shoulders? And it's this beautiful father-son moment of plant your feet.
That was great. That was definitely one of the better like hero moments of the episode for sure.
And again, it's the fact that this is the only. Just so you know, this is the only time he and Warhawk will ever have any scenes together, period. So we have to make every moment count between these two, given what he knows about him. And he learns that the son, he's not getting all the details from, but you can see that he's kind of, there's a relationship there in the brief time they know each other. In like the less than 24-hour span these guys know each other in their lives. There's something really special about that. And Phil Lamar's just, he's delivering on it, man. Okay. So let's say his name is she's like nagging him like, he's always been a worm, and it was just like, yeah, nice on the stealth, lady, because now David's awake. Yep, but now it's fight night at the Coliseum because they're awake and everything. He summoned the Jokers there, and it's just nothing but chaos. The whole building's about to come down. This is really cool. Like GL and Static, they save everyone like the big kind of a big bubble. And again, no thank you from the Jokers or anything. Just like this like, oh, they say this. What nice guys. And then they basically try to kill him. It's like, hey, you stopped you from a collapsing building. No thanks there. Batman's essentially, he's got the wind knocked out of him because basically we need to take Batman out of the equation until we get to the actual ending of the episode. So basically our classic Batman gets knocked out by the building. Meanwhile, so we have a lot of fighting going on here. We had Batman before that saying, like, get the belt, nothing else matters. It's a great dramatic line, just like, get the belt, nothing else matters. We gotta undo this. All
out of context, a little silly, but yeah, you're right. It's fun.
That's the thing, all reality is disappearing around. That's a line you get away with during a crisis.
Right.
All right, let's see. So poor Static. He ends with reality unraveling around them, but it's all chaos during this fight. Static dies before our eyes. He gets sucked into like the endless void of time.
He essentially gets like kind of the multiverse of madness Illuminati treatment a little bit.
I mean, essentially, yeah. Yep. And then how can things get any sadder and more hopeless? We have, oh boy, so Batman, Terry McGinnis Batman. He gets shot by just time going wacky here. The Redcoats from the Revolution show up. The Revolutionary War show.
This is where the time travel shenanigans in this episode really won me over, Dragon. I was like, all right, there's literally no reason for these fucking Redcoats to be here, but why not?
That's the thing, is all the rules, like, there's so many tears in the fabric of time, one of which like killed Static. They're showing up everywhere. Time's going crazy. It's like the Redcoats are showing up. They're about to shoot, like, Enid, and then like Batman like shoves her out of the way, saves somebody, gets shot a few times, but again, it's like old bullets, so he's somewhat protected, but he's still shot like 3 times. And then the DDs show up, and they duplicate, and they're like 4. And then we have one of the saddest tragic moments happen here. They hog tie his limbs, and they pull him apart and kill him. And we have the reason we have a whole counter, by the way, in case you're wondering.
Oh yeah, big time, yeah.
This is what Tiki. This is what I hyped up.
I kind of picked up on that.
This is the ultimate, McGinnis / Terry.
Oh, it is. It is very much so. And then you get the second dramatic. You get the first shout, and then you get the second dramatic. Terry.
It gives me chills every time. Just this, like, first of all, I mean, you like Terry McGinnis, I would wager to say, right?
I think that's fair to say, yeah.
After 3 seasons in a movie, I like to think you like Terry. At least you like him. So I care about Terry, and yes, he's horribly killed by the DDs here. And again, of all the villains to kill him too, it's the DDs. I mean, he's batting him around, but the fact it's like Harley killing Batman. So they tear him apart, and Bruce Wayne is just on the other side.
If you think about it, there's a little bit of a shade of the Jason Todd thing as well.
A little bit, yeah, exactly. So Bruce is helpless. This pathos-filled moment of, it's gut-wrenching. Bruce Wayne is helpless on the other side of it, and just beside himself as he initially says helplessly, "Terry!" And then just the silence, and I love you can hear the score and everything. You have the silence, and you hear like a slow requiem in the score. Terry. It's just, we go from like the intense, the classic Terry, followed by just the saddest Terry you've ever heard in your life. Like, it's an emotional, like, punch to the heart. It's like a Jonathan Banks punch to the heart.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
And again, it's the fact that Bruce has now lost, he's lost his only reason. Think about this. At the end of this, all of our Beyond characters essentially are gone. Like, everyone around me, he's lost everything he has now. Like, Bruce Wayne's ultimately, he's all about survivor's guilt. Like, again, the only family that he had left was Terry. He's got nothing now. In that moment, that's the saddest we are ever going to see Batman, in that moment, Tiki. That's, anyway. So also the Terry count, I would say, is 20. I count both Terrys because it has a choir around it, so I think it counts. It's 22.
So we're counting 2 for this one.
Oh, we're definitely counting.
I agree with that.
There's a sad, solemn choir behind that second Terry. That counts.
Right.
So 22. We got 22 Terrys. All right. Anyway, so okay, let's do somber moment there. Anyway, so Chronos. Chronos is about to do Enid in here. He's like, hey, you double-crossed me. He's not too happy about that. A mammoth is charging at Warhawk. More prehistoric creatures for you, Tiki.
Yes. Definitely a sucker for it.
Yep, so mammoth charges at Warhawk. A real mammoth, too, not a robot. Knocks him around, and then Wolf is about to kill Warhawk, and we have this really awesome, like, fist-pumping moment of, get away from my kid,
for sure.
Geo blast. And this is really sweet too, because you noticed before this, Warhawk saved his father from Ghoul, and actually Ghoul gashed, like, he used his saw blade. He actually cut again. Where kids WB and Cartoon Network, they're a bloodthirsty bunch versus Fox kids. He cut his head open, which we pay off at the very end of the episode. So yeah, anyway.
Like you said, we don't really need much from this Green Lantern dynamic with the Sun, but we we get just enough for it to be really potent. It's a very economic use of screen time in that regard.
And again, Green Lantern hates time travel, but not for a moment. Even though he hates time travel, is he going to not save his son?
Of course.
You know, get away from my kid. Like he knows, like he always trusts his guts. That GL. All right. So then Batman, he emerges from the wreckage, and already Conroy's just owning the scene like Chronos. So much so that even Chronos himself is saying, "Oh, he's good, isn't he good?"
Right.
Which I just find so funny.
Emmy, folks.
Yep. All right, so look around you. Look at the sky.
Mm-hmm.
Which again, they get away with that line. Only Conroy could deliver that. Sure. Like out of context, it even sounds dramatic out of context. Look at the sky.
It does sound dramatic out of context, yeah.
So this Batman just saying this in this collapse. Literally, the original flagship DCAU character saying that the universe is collapsing around us. Look at it.
Mm-hmm.
And then Chronos has gone by here. So it's like, ooh, pretty. And this Green Lantern's had it up to this point. He hates all this. Like, it's like, look, like, stay with us, man. We have a problem here. So then, Deluded, he has one shot left. He kisses his wife goodbye, and he's like, "You'll love me next time." With this deluded plan to go back to the beginning of time to start all over again. Batman and Green Lantern in this amazing climax. They're in a Green Lantern bubble. They're in a construct bubble. They're chasing them down.
Dragon, last time you specifically asked me what I thought of like the effect of the time bubble, and I said like I really liked that there was like a kind of like a physical tangibility to it, and yeah, I love how we pay that off here.
I love how condensed it is too. It's like this little tunnel through time, and they're chasing them like a ping pong, like a pinball machine thing almost. They're just going straight through.
And then there's stakes too, because it's like essentially we're racing towards like something so complicated that man in himself is not meant to see it. You know what I mean? It's almost one of those like Ark of the Covenant, like, oh my God, you can't see it or else your mind will just fucking explode.
I just love that there's like no turning back either, because literally in this time tunnel, all of time around them is erased. Like the whole DCAU universe right now is all gone. That little hand, that's all that's there right now. Because they're going to the beginning of time, which is like the hands of fate practically. Inside a hand, you have a cosmos, and that's the start of the universe. Chronos is going to rewrite everything if he gets there. The stakes could not possibly be any higher. And how do we make it even more cool? We have Phil Lamar delivering this awesome. The Green Lanterns have a legend that no one's meant to see the beginning of time. It's a universal law. And then how do we make it even better than that? We have what I would say quite possibly is the Great Conroy for this episode. Quite possibly. Saying, write him a ticket.
Nah, I think it's got to be the superstitious and cowardly law dragon, honestly. I mean,
that's
good.
What it's
great, but
it's the fun. It's the fun Great Conroy, though.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, so you're right. Anyway, so write him a ticket, which is a great line. It's very well delivered, but also gives. I like to think in my headcanon that gives him the idea for how to nab him. Because think about it, write him a ticket. He cuffs him. He pulls out he conjures up a pair of handcuffs. So the hand, he's going for the hand. He gets cuffed and brought in there. Batman's uploading the program, but it's like, make it snappy. I'm having trouble with the brakes. And again, it's like, oh God, are they going to make it? Or are they all just reluctantly going to go to the beginning of time?
We're not going to make it. We're not going to make it.
And the hand closes. You don't know what the rules are. I mean, they're in the same room as the hand, or they're colliding towards a finger. You don't know what's going to happen. And then it just cuts back.
Hard cut to mundane office life.
Yep, mundane. We're in the commissary again. We've gone full circle. I love this detail, by the way. Now, look, I don't know, Tiki, I swear to God, I don't know if this is just an animation error because it's a different studio doing it, or I like to think intentional. I like to think because we've done a reset through time, things are a little different. Like you'll notice, it's a subtle detail. They're drinking milk now. Before they were drinking out of like thermos cups or something, and like the lunch is different.
Right, just stupid little details like that. Yeah.
But again, so we have this great idea, and this I know we're not going to cover this, but just so you know, after this, in like Justing Unlimited, there's an episode where we called this back, that Batman and Green Lantern are the only two people in the entire DC animated universe that know what happened here. They remember this adventure. And we call that in the question later about the whole Warhawk thing. Well, let's just say, as we kind of hint at here, they're the only two who remember everything. Wonder Woman's completely in the dark. Like, what? You don't remember going on a mission with us today? No, I'm just meeting you right now. What are you talking about?
I love the trippiness of that. That almost feels kind of like vaguely Twilight Zone-esque.
I think it's kind of like, part of me thinks it's a shame that, well, at least Batman remembers it, but Wonder Woman doesn't remember like that cutesy moment she had with Batman at the start of the part one. But on the relationship side of things, though, we have this great thing. It looks like only the two of us remember, and then we see John look over the Shire, now knowing having an idea of what his future is going to be like. And right now, we set up in the first part, he's with Vixen now. I'm very happy. He might not be very happy. He knows what's going to happen. He knows, like, oh, God, I'm going to have this awesome kid with Shire. And right now, things is like, oh, boy, that complicates things. And then we have this question of, and our ending is Chef's Kiss. John asks,
I love a good kind of like, villain comeuppance in the DCAU, and they do them well, and this is one of the good ones.
So John asks, well, what happened to Chronos? And Batman says, like, basically per Batman's no-kill rule, he didn't kill him. He didn't send him to, like, the Cretaceous period like he did Chucko. He's like, I messed with the belt. I put in the program, so he won't be hurting anyone. So we reveal. Remember what I told you to plant a flag for in that first episode, Tiki? So we have Chronos' big exit move from the first step, from the cold open of the first episode, first part. Of like, it's like, you wretched, good for nothing, wretched waste of space. You invent a time machine and can't think of anything useful to do with it?
Oh, God.
I can think of one thing, to get away from you. So he tries to get
away from you.
So he will endlessly at ad infinitum never be able to be re-looping the end of that argument for all of time. Every time he thinks he's getting away from it, it's just going to restart again and again and again and again and again.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Really good spot to end out on. All right. So, yeah, Dragon, I think the Once and Future Thing, part 1 and 2, honestly, probably one of my new favorites. I'm all for a good time travel story. I think this does the multiverse really well and really clever before the multiverse was a thing that we were all sick of. Yep. Obviously, this episode has some really killer Conroy on Conroy action. Just very satisfied all the way around. I think just with the two-parter element, of course we have part 1, still probably, like, for my personal palate, still probably a little bit, like, it's more fun. I don't know. I just really, I'm such a sucker for the dinosaurs in the Old West and that kind of stuff.
Well, we have actual dinosaurs in this.
No, I know. You're right. So, just taken together, I think it's just a really, really solid two-parter. Honestly, maybe one of the better two-parters that we've ever covered through this show, honestly. Like, it's up there for me. Yeah,
I love it. I've always had a great fondness for it. Again, I saved it kind of towards the tail end for a reason, because I knew it was going to be special. I knew, it had the Batman Beyond of it all, and this was like a big kind of moment for him. So we definitely wanted to kind of show like the two Batmans crossing over, and also it's because of that climax, man. It's phenomenal. It's like, not even like a multiverse thing. It's the fact that before the multiverse got played out and saved by Deadpool, but ultimately played out. Before we did all that, it's the fact that, you gotta respect the time travel stories before you get the multiverse stories. And this is an example of, okay, we're messing with time, we're having a good time doing it. Mm-hmm. So a lot of fun. Again, the fact is, they didn't mess with time travel often. They did it very selectively. The first time was like in Justice League first season. It was kind of like we're testing the fields here. This was like, okay, we're actually doing the big time travel story. We're going to make a crisis level event in 2 parts, which, the fact the JLU never had 2-parters, the fact this is the only 2-parter that they had, I think was like official 2-parter they had, was for good reason. And just again, more of Dwayne. There's a Chef's Kiss episode for Dwayne McDuffie. The man was a consummate writer. He's missed dearly, and this very much is kind of a great swan song for the man in many respects. And we're gonna, I believe, last episode we'll be doing not next week, but the 2 weeks. Well, sorry, not 2 episodes from now, which will be the last one. I believe is also a Dwayne McDuffie episode. I'd have to double check that, but I'm pretty sure Dwayne McDuffie also wrote that. So again, he got some big Batman stuff in his tenure on JLU. So look forward to that, kids.
All right. Okay, so yeah, one more time, we want to shout out Little Blue, Code Geass in the comments, as well as Teddy. Also, Sonia Patoja popping up. I hope I'm getting that name right, by the way. Just saying to have a good evening. You as well, Sonia. And then we also have Mr. Frog. Hi, Mr. Frog. Do you eat the bug? Playing along there with his moniker. All right. I'm Mr. Frog. I eat the bug. All right. Okay, Dragon. Yeah. So let's cue things up. Where are we going next?
A Joker King declaring war on Neo Gotham. Bruce Wayne in bad shape. Dana with a storyline. Can the Batman stop the Joker's uprising from destroying the city? Will Terry save Dana before it's too late? Tune in next time to find out. Same animated bat time, same animated bat place.
On the next visit to Batcave Beyond with 10,000 clowns. Send in the clowns indeed.
Write him a ticket.